Welcome to Painting and Decorating. Today I've got a few edges on the paper, joints that have lifted. A few different ways we can repair these, and we'll just take a look at how I do them. So this one is a bit more difficult. This one's open, this one's not quite open. So we'll take a look at this one first, and then the different types of glue I'll be using. Okay, firstly, the one that's open, so you can hear the loose paper and you can see the split down the joint. With a dry brush, I can open one side up, just get the bristles in behind. Okay. If you have a scraper, then you can use the scraper. Now, with the brush, when we open it up, if you've only got the brush, you've nothing to keep that joint open, that paper up. So with the aid of the scraper, that will help. But first of all, I'm just going to use the brush. So first method, first glue I'm going to use is the actual paint I'm using on the wall. Now sometimes when you're papering, you may miss an edge with the adhesive. You may have an absorbent wall. Also, when you've pasted the paper and it's soaking on the bench, sometimes these edges can curl and they can dry. So, with the brush, open it up. Again, like I say, when you're painting, sometimes these can lift as you're rolling. So if the wall was wet and it started to lift, then simply get some paint on the brush and start to work it into that joint. Get it behind the paper. It will soon start to soften up, and already it's sitting up a little bit more. So we just add a little bit more paint there. I'm rotating the brush, pushing that in. Push the bristles as far up as I can, either way. If the paper's loose anymore, it will lift it. And when you're confident you've got enough behind, then what we can do is close that down a little bit and then force that paint back. So we have some paint now behind there. Now the other side isn't stuck, so working the bristle up to it, try and get it behind that paper. Okay, there. Open it up. Now I can add a little bit more paint. Again, working it back. Okay. The paint may take a little bit longer to dry and to hold the paper, but overall you can see it's done. So I'll just a bit of a wipe, just dab that down. always work with a damp cloth. Okay, that's the first one done. And we'll move on to that one that's a little bit more difficult, and I'll use a different adhesive. So now this one, you can see where the paper is loose and the joint is just running just on the edge of the blade there. Okay, it's not quite open, but I can just see where it is. So two tools you will need. Okay, and now what I want to do is just on that joint, just get behind and just lift, and there, it's broken the seal. You can use a scraper down here. I'll just do the same. There, just get it behind. I would recommend always using a blade. It's just finer. You won't damage the paper. But this is being painted. So now the adhesive. So here I've got the Solvite Repair and Overlap and Border adhesive. A little bit easier to use because with this I can literally get the brush I'm using and just open it up a little bit, and now I can just inject some of that glue behind. Making sure we get some in there. Brush, just work it up right into the edge of the paper where it's starting to go tight. And just make sure we get all that paper coated. Okay, now damp cloth. Now what can happen, the paper, especially as such a large joint like this, it can start to soak and swell a little bit. So what you need to do really now is start to push the joint that way. Try and get it to close up, and all the time any adhesive is going that way. Okay. So effectively though, what I'm trying to do is realign that joint. Adhesive out. Okay. Now it doesn't look to me like this side is lifted, but I'm going to try just to make sure. Oh, that's fine. That's not coming up, so we're good there. That's that one done. just take a closer look at how I open this one up. So you can see where the paper isn't stuck, and then also just running down is the joint through there. Yeah. So with the blade just to the edge of that joint there, let's see if I can lift it. Okay. So what I'm doing there is straight on the joint, pushing in, and then just turn to the side and just slightly lift there. Got it? That side sounds solid. Just be careful because the paper can be dry. We don't want to tear it. You can see it's gone tight there, so we're good. So this one, I'm just going to use paint on it. I haven't got a small brush. Just using just a few of the bristles there. Some paint there, push that in. As the paper wets, it'll become more supple. Okay, a little bit more paint. Remember, just try and realign that joint, just slightly drawing it back on itself. Now with some papers, you can start to flatten the pattern. This is a vinyl paper, so it will tack this. Just be gentle with what you're doing. Allow the paper to soak and use a paper hanging brush if necessary, a roller or a paintbrush. Just leave that to dry. I'll move on to the other one and show you the final adhesive. If there's a lot of spring in the paper and it doesn't want to stick down for you, allow the paint or the border adhesive to soak for a little bit, allow it to dry so it becomes really tacky, and then try sticking it back. If it still doesn't do it for you, then down here I've just got some fast acting wood glue, PVA glue really, and again with the brush just open it up. And apply the adhesive, which is quite quite thick, not as much moisture in it. It dries a lot quicker. Just have to move a little bit faster with it, because all that time the paper is soaking and pulling any moisture out of the glue. We'll just wet that in, get some right behind. I'm always working away from the joint, realigning that joint and pushing the adhesive back where I want it. Because what I don't want is to leave any bubbles in the paper, so stick it all down. I need to open this up the other way. Sure I'm getting that edge stuck down. Get some back onto this edge. Well, it'd just be a stronger adhesive, this. More grip. Again, just get that adhesive pushed back. Make sure you remove the adhesive from off the face, like any adhesive. Okay, I'm good there. Generally, when you're working around a room painting, as you find them, all you need to carry, obviously your painting, just keep your blade with you, open that up, put some paint behind it, and make sure you do get some behind there, otherwise it's a wasted effort. Lifting the other way, pop some in. And keep going. That's okay. That's okay. Looking good. After a lick of paint, might take a little bit to dry, but no worries with that. If you're doing a finished paper, then that is all I would use, just a Solvite overlap adhesive. But that's a good job there.